See here, here it is. All right. So, as you know, it's how we do it, baby. Welcome everybody to the Juice Box. Man, first off, I want to say thank you and what's up to everybody who's tuning in. Yes, man, hey, listen, Jack, I love that. I love that. Welcome to the show. We got some topics here tonight that we're gonna get into. Um, Hopefully everybody like them. Please feel free to comment, jump down, comment, man, on anything that you got. So we're gonna get right off the bat. The first thing that we're gonna talk about, before we do that, I gotta pay some bills, man. Shout out to those who make the Juice Box possible. Number one is the CJW brand. Um, CJW brand, also Leadership Surge, Dr. Bethany Nutrition, Convoy Basketball, and Max Hoops. Now, in the words of my boy Joseph 14, let's ride. First thing on the menu, man. Huge for high school students and for people who are coming out of junior college right now. And that is the transfer portal. So right now in men's basketball, right now, there are just over 900 names in the transfer portal. So how does that impact high school players and junior college players who are trying to transition to four-year schools? Well, here's the thing. Because there are so many people in the transfer portal, and now you can transfer one time without a penalty, because you can transfer one time without a penalty, now you got to ask yourself this, because there's pressure to win at every level. So as a coach, you're looking at it and you're saying this, okay, first fact, there are only 6 states in the union that play with a shot clock. So high school basketball is a slower paced game than the college game. Now, so if I'm recruiting, so here's the question to ask yourself. Do I want to get a 22 or 23-year-old, 6'5", maybe 185, 220-pound guy who's already adjusted to college, who's been lifting weights, who's played college basketball probably for 2 years, maybe 3 years already? Do I want that guy, or do I want an 18-year-old coming out of high school who might be 6'5", and maybe he weighs 180? So now there are some people who recruit high school players. I'm just explaining to you what the impact is of the transfer portal. And also you can't ignore the COVID year. So due to COVID, everyone who was in college playing basketball they got that year back. So now it's just not as much turnover as it normally is for high school players. Now, does that mean that nobody's taking high school players at all? No, absolutely not. There are some people who are still taking high school players. I'm just saying that it's harder now just because the turnover is not as great as it normally is. I think after a few years that will be back. Jack, I don't think you're slow. Not at all. So I got a comment, so I'm gonna read the comment and I'm gonna respond to it. Well, that's good. That's good. Awesome job to your son. I'm glad that he had those offers. Where did your son end up? I'm glad that he had those offers. Where did he end up going, if you don't mind me asking? And while I'm waiting on a response, we're gonna keep going. So let me ask this question to the high school coaches and the club coaches and the people who know people who are like making phone calls on the behalf of other potential student athletes. So here's a question. Question is this. When you guys, as high school coaches or club team coaches, when you guys are contacting college coaches, are you studying any film on the college before you make the call for the high school player? And the reason I'm asking is this, because I may be a coach who plays 2-3 zone, and the player that you're calling me about, because you know me, that player may have played at a high school that plays man to man, or that player may have played at a school that runs the flex offense, and I may run a high ball screen or anything. But what I'm saying is, when you call a college coach who, because if you know a college coach personally, then you're probably friends with them, right? Because like you can call them on their cell phone. My question to you, or my thought to you, is this: have you really considered, can this kid help this guy or girl, this coach? Can this student athlete that I'm calling this coach about, can they really help this coach win? That's a deep question. And do you know that this player will fit into their system? That's a huge question, because if you're recruiting, if you're sending me somebody who doesn't fit what we do, then essentially you're going to cost me my job. Because if it's a kid who can't play the way that we play the game, then they're in the way. Just being truthful. We're going to take a question from Jack. How do you get into coaching at a level that I'm currently coaching at? So my last job was at South Puget Sound Community College. I was head coach there for the last 2 seasons. And I'm no longer there. I resigned from there probably about a month ago. Not quite sure as to what I'm going to do yet. I do have a couple irons in the fire, so we'll see where I end up landing. But to coach on the level that I'm coaching on, or have been coaching on, well, I would encourage you. I would encourage you to really hone in on perfecting your craft, and I would encourage you to go meet as many people as you possibly can. I would suggest that, for example, there is the National Association of Basketball Coaches has a convention every year. It's tied to the Final Four. I would encourage you to go there. That's a huge networking opportunity. That is how I landed my first college job, which was at Willamette University. There's a gentleman by the name of Kip Ione that I met at the NABC coaching convention in Dallas, Texas that year. So I would say go to that, and I would say get really good at something. I think you should be going to that event, and then I think you should get really good at something coaching, because chances are for you to break into the industry, you're going to break in as an assistant coach. It's very rare that people who have not coached get head coaching jobs, just because people tend to hire folks that they know. And that's just kind of what it is. So I would encourage you to do that. I mean, you can start by coaching. Maybe you coach club ball, maybe you coach AAU, maybe you coach somewhere locally in your community. I don't know what level you're trying to coach, but to coach where I'm coaching, I would say start there, and see what you can bring, and be ready to soak up knowledge. It's all kind of softwares, different things people use. For example, when I was coaching Division III ball, we use Synergy. Going to the junior college level, we were on Huddle, but we had another software that we called that we used as well. So it's a lot of different things that you'll have to learn, and you have to realize this though. So you have to realize this, that if you're going to coach for somebody, then you got to really buy into their philosophy, and the way that they want to play the game. So yeah, I would encourage you to do that. Now, if you're interested in starting getting coaching, I gotta plug it. I would tell you to visit thejuiceuniversity.com and pick up some tools to help you get started in your coaching career. I'm going to respond to one comment I have via Instagram. I do agree with you. You have to recruit kids that you think that will benefit your program. I 100% agree with that. What I'm saying is, when you, being the person who is not the college coach, when you reach out to the college coach, just because you might be friends with the college coach, or you may have met them, or whatever the case may be, I'm just saying, when you reach out to the college coach, have you done your homework on the college to see if that kid, because you probably know that kid that you're recommending, you probably know that kid a little bit better than the coach does, at least initially, is what I'm saying. So I would encourage you guys to make sure that you are taking advantage of free stuff, right? And doing your homework on the school. So if you play at a high school, if you got a nephew or a cousin or a son or a daughter or a niece who plays at a high school, and let's say they press all the time, right? And they're just like flying around, trapping people all over the place. Well, you need to know, what college are you contacting? Because if the college that you're contacting plays half court 2-3 zone, like, why are you calling them? Because that kid's going to struggle, especially with things like the transfer portal and things like people getting extra years, because there's going to be a language that the kid's going to have to speak once they get to the particular college that they're going to. So you need to know, like, what the playing style is like. You need to know the coaching staff. You need to know, like, from a school standpoint, what is the kid going to study? Because 22 hours out of the day, they're not with basketball, so they're doing something else. So what are they going to study? What is the classroom life like? There are some people who do better in smaller learning environments. I've coached at schools who have like a 12-to-1 ratio. I've been at schools where you're sitting in an auditorium with like 400 other people. Absolutely. So you need to know, like, what you want to study. My thing is this, and I'm giving you some free gems right now when I'm recruiting. So I feel that because I coach men's, so the guys that I'm recruiting, I look at it like this. Most of them have been playing basketball or some sort of sport for a large portion of their life, especially the kids who are coming up now. I feel like most of them have been playing since as early as 5 or 6. And there's always been another school or another team. I'm sorry. There's always been another team. And for a lot of these guys, this is the last stop in their basketball career. So the biggest thing that I try to push to them is self-discovery and discovering their identity, so that they can know what it is that they're going to do after basketball, what they can connect with once, their playing time is done, because most of them are going pro in something else. All right. So we're going to move forward. I hope you guys are enjoying the NBA playoffs. I'm enjoying the NBA playoffs. But I'm going to say something, and let's talk hoops. We're going to talk about what we saw today. I'm going to tell you who I think has made the best adjustment. And then we're going to come back with who I think has made the best adjustment. We're going to come back with a preview of the games we're going to see tomorrow. So the playoffs are great. I miss the King, LeBron James, being in the playoffs, because I am a LeBron fan. There's no secret there. I do miss LeBron being in the playoffs. However, it's okay. Um, I think the biggest adjustment in the playoffs has been the Memphis Grizzlies. I like what the Memphis Grizzlies have done. Now, what's crazy is they've done this without Ja Morant. And that's ironic to me, man, because Ja, you know, it's just a tough thing because, last game they held Golden State to like 101. Today they blew them out by like 39 points. So they're playing some incredible defense, but I think it really boils down to when Ja is playing, he is a great player, right? But when he's going to work, everybody else is standing still. Everybody else is growing roots. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out because the NBA is a superstar league, right? So Memphis has a superstar in Ja Morant, in my opinion. He's a really good player. But I feel like they play better when he's not on the floor. So Memphis is a good team with Ja, right? Because you can't be bad with a player like Ja Morant because he's a really good player, right? So let's not get that twisted at all. Ja Morant is like a really good player. I think Ja Morant will be like a MVP candidate in this league, before it's all said and done. But I'm saying the way Memphis has played team basketball over these last two games, right? Because they're playing a little bit more pace, a little bit more under control. With Jones running the point, the ball's touching the paint. They're hitting a lot of inside out threes. They're a little gritty on defense. So it has just been a pleasure to watch. I'm interested to see what will happen when Ja comes back. And this is a business. So you got to look at it from a business standpoint. Nobody else on that roster is going to get paid what Ja's going to get paid, right? And so then the question becomes, do you feel like you have to pay him, right? Because I'm sure he's still on a rookie deal right now, but I just think it's an interesting conversation. An interesting spot for Memphis to be in for sure. The Golden State Warriors did get beat by 39 points tonight. That did happen, which is incredible. But I think the Boston Celtics loss was a bigger loss than the Golden State loss because the Celtics got to win that game, right? Like they had that in the bag, and I feel like they just let one get off the hook tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks, kudos to them for battling, digging their heels in. Those are some great plays down the stretch. That might be the best playoff game I've seen in a while. Definitely the best one this year. With Giannis hitting that three and then Bobby Portis getting a putback. And then the block from Jrue Holiday, which Pat Connaughton took a horrible angle defensively. I don't even know why he was in the game, but he was. And here's a better question. How is Marcus Smart? Why does the ball only touch Marcus Smart's hands? See, because I just said we're a superstar league. Like that game that Golden State won in Memphis, it was game one of the series when Ja had the chance to scoop layup with the left hand, scoop layup that he missed at the end of the game when Clay switched on him. Now, if Brandon Clark fakes that and he turns and goes right hand, he probably scores. But because it's a superstar league, he's got to get that ball to Ja. And Ja's got to make the decision. Now, Ja make or miss, or we live with it, right? So I just don't see how that ball doesn't find Jason Tatum. They came out of a timeout. That ball's got to go to Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Got to. So that's that. Now, preview for tomorrow. The Mavericks and Suns series. The Mavericks and Suns play tomorrow in Dallas. It's going to be insane atmosphere, obviously with CP3, getting into it with the crowd and stuff like that. That was crazy. Somebody putting their hands on his wife and his grandpa and his mom. That's insane. But the Mavs versus Suns, here's my question. It is ISO heavy. It is middle ball screen heavy for the Suns. They're going middle ball screen to Chris Paul, right? And the Mavericks are going middle ball screen to Luka. And what I don't understand is I just don't understand why they haven't changed the pick and roll coverage. It's like they're just letting Chris Paul and letting Luka Doncic just get wherever they want to get on the court, pull up, make whatever shots they want to pull. Now, I know Dallas shot the three really well in the previous game, but man, like trap the ball or do something different. If you trapping the ball, and I'm talking about how there's been no pick and roll adjustment, for either team. I would trap Chris Paul, make DeAndre Ayton have to catch the ball, from 17 feet and become a decision maker. Absolutely. Or Powell, that guy from the Mavs. I just think is really interesting. I appreciate that comment about me being an NBA coach. I would love to coach the beloved LA Lakers. Absolutely. I've been on Hoop Dirt. I've been on Indeed. I know the Lakers looking for a coach. I just need to know where to apply. So if y'all know, let me know, and I'll put in for it. I'll put in for it. I would love to coach the Lakers, work with the great LeBron James, and all I can say is Lakers in 6. Okay. Last thing that I'm gonna hit on tonight, because we're running out of time. Last thing I'm gonna hit on tonight is this. The NBA owes us as fans an apology. And you say, well, Coach, why you say that? Well, I say that because the officiating has been like the weather in Jacksonville, Florida. This is crazy. Devin Booker shoots a jump shot, and on his follow through, he hits Powell, and they call a technical foul. Like, that's on accident. And then later in the same game, Devin Booker is driving to the lane, and Powell swipes to try to block the shot, but he only hits him in the top of the head, and it's a common foul. They don't even review it on the screen. So I just don't understand the lack of consistency. I'm gonna tell you this: Marcus Smart should have been shooting 3 free throws in the previous game. Absolutely. Draymond fouled that guy in the game that the Golden State Warriors won, 1-on-1 to 95 or whatever it was. Draymond fouled him at the end of the game. So the refs have been inconsistent, I think would be a kind word. The NBA, y'all owe us an apology, because right now, as a fan, we're sitting home, and we don't know what's a foul and what's not. We really don't know. We get Draymond ejected, which I think that was a reputation thing. But I'll say this: I think that officials, when they have control of the game, you minimize a lot of the foolishness. But I think people are frustrated because there's not the consistency. Those are just my thoughts. So, as we always do on the Juice Box podcast, we're going to leave you with a little bit of encouragement. Now, a little motivational moment. So for tonight, here it is. If there's anybody out there who feels like they are going through a tough time, who feels like things just are not going your way, feels like, man, I'm trying to do this right, but it's not happening the way that I planned. Things aren't going the way that I thought they were going to go. But just remember this: when you fall short, sometimes you are planted, not buried. You don't water things that are buried. You water things that are planted. And in order for something to grow, you have to take the seed and you have to plant it. And after you plant it, see, you have to water it. Absolutely. When a seed is planted, it is in a state that represents its destiny being concealed. But when it blooms, that is your destiny realized. Take care. Thank you for joining us and tuning in live. Now I got to stop all these streams. Thank you for joining the show and checking us out. We'll be back. Enjoy the NBA playoffs tomorrow. Grace and peace.